32,768. Do you know what that number is? Well, I didn't know until earlier. That is the number a quartz crystal oscillates in a minute. I brought you here because there's a lot of quartz in these rocks. It's everywhere. And inside this watch there's a tiny piece of quartz in a little cylinder, and it's shaped like a tuning fork. And that tiny piece of quartz from the battery of the watch has a current that runs through it, which the tuning fork of the quartz oscillates 32,678 times a minute. And then from there, the mechanics of the watch, which in part are known as flip-flops, don't ask me what that is, but they flip-flop on and off in a sequence which allows a burst of energy from the crystal once a minute, perfectly timed. And that goes into the gearing, makes the minute hand move, and geared down for the second hand. I'm not sure if I got that completely right, but that's basically the premise of the quartz watch, that it resonates an exact amount of time, and it's engineered to resonate that amount of time. Apparently if it resonated any higher or lower, you may hear it, it wouldn't be very you'd end up with some kind of weird hum. So they got it to that amount. That creates the movement to be very precise and tick every minute. And why am I telling you all this? Because throughout my watch life I've mainly had quartz watches. The watch I had before this was a Seiko chronograph, and I wore that for nigh on 20 years, extremely reliable. Before that I had a couple of other quartz, and I've had digital watches. I don't think I actually had a mechanical watch. I have mechanical watches now. I've got some automatics and some vintage mechanical wind watches. So after nearly 20 years of the Seiko chronograph, I was looking for a new watch, and I thought I would have something slightly different. I didn't want to go for a Seiko again, so after a bit of research I found the Invicta brand, which is actually predates Rolex, and they had some beautiful looking watches, some Rolex homage watches. So I was surfing through Amazon looking at the different types and came across this one, which is a Daytona homage, Rolex Daytona homage. And as you can see, it's called, I think you can see that, the Speedway. Beautiful looking watch, stainless steel, but it has got a quartz movement. And I wasn't bothered about this because I hadn't even owned a mechanical watch up to this stage. I'm very, very sure of the quartz movement. I know they're extremely good, and you've got virtually zero maintenance apart from having to swap the battery out every 3 or 4 years. I've had friends who've had automatic watches, and of course you are meant to service automatic watches or mechanical watches every once in a while, every few years, and that can come at quite a cost. Although now, looking into it a little bit deeper, it does seem mechanical watches and automatic watches, you can service them, but a lot of people will just wait for them to start to slow up. You know, if they start behaving a bit slow or too fast, maybe that's the time, or they're not holding their power reserve, that's the time to get them serviced. So this was the first Invicta I bought. I've since bought a Pro Diver automatic. This one is absolutely beautiful. I don't wear it as much as I should do, mainly because I do need reading glasses to to read with. And so when I glance down without my reading glasses, sometimes I find this watch a little hard to read because the white dial and light coloured silver hands, sometimes, especially in lower light, I can't see it, where the Pro Diver I have got a black face and the hands I can see much easier. But it's still a beautiful, beautiful watch, and I will wear it, and I do wear it occasionally. It's got highly polished sides, brushed stainless links with polished middle links, which I like to look at, but I do prefer a solid stainless brushed bracelet, just because they don't show the scratches so much. So this one, I worry that I'm going to pick up scratches, so I really do just keep this for best, so that I don't pick the scratches up on it. It's very chunky, it has chronograph features which do work, and the buttons are screw down, all three you screw down, so it's got very good waterproof 200 meters, which is more than enough to go swimming, and you could probably even do some shallow scuba diving. Don't want to probably go too deep, and you could definitely do snorkeling, and it would be perfectly good for surfing, windsurfing, that type of thing. So a proper capable watch, keeps fantastic time, looks superb, very, very similar to the Rolex Daytona in look. I'll put a photo up if I remember, and you can see how, if I put it here, perhaps I'll put the photo next to on the right, you'll be able to see how close it actually looks to the Daytona. Now this I purchased from Amazon. If I remember rightly, it cost £75. There's a couple of different versions of these, slightly different colours. I picked this one. I think they do one with a darker face. This one, if you look closely, has, let's have a look if you can see, get the light on it, a bit of a, oh there we go, a kind of scalloped surface to the dial. Don't know if you can see that, which is rather nice. Real quality look and feel to it. The bezel doesn't rotate, that's just, I don't think it rotates anyway. No, it doesn't rotate, I never tried it. And you've got some luminous hands there. The lume isn't great, but it will do the job. Yeah, beautiful looking watch. Can totally recommend it. You have Invicta on the bracelet buckle there, and the engraving of Invicta on the side, which not everybody likes, but it does set it apart from the Rolex, of course. You're not trying to kid anyone once they see that. So give me a second, I'll put it on my wrist, show you what it looks like. So here it is on my wrist. And as you can see, it looks pretty smart. I'll just duck behind this wall because it's getting a bit windy. Don't want to pick up too much wind noise on the old mic. So there you go, if you're looking for a inexpensive but good, I would say almost high quality watch, and you don't mind having a quartz, why not go for it? The only thing that gives it away being a quartz is when you look at the second hand isn't sweeping. Most people aren't going to notice the difference, let's face it. And it's one less watch you have that you won't need to service, apart from chopping out the battery occasionally. And as I said before, Invicta predates Rolex. It was a Swiss make, a Swiss manufacturer that came out of watches before Rolex, and some of the early watches are incredibly collectible, but then they were bought up by an American firm, and I think they actually moved to America, and since then they brought out many watches. Some are extremely crazy designs and all different sizes, and some of them people will maybe say they're a bit over the top. I think the best range they have are these homage watches. So there you have it. My first Invicta. It won't be my last. Thanks for watching.